As the COVID-19 cases take upward trend in the Gambia, the Fajikunda Health Center was compelled to partially shut down. The Nigerian government is set to invest $38 million on infrastructure to revive the country's economy. And Chinese forces extend peacekeeping mission in Sudan in search of lasting peace. This and more coming on The World Today. Hello there, this is Africa TV and you are watching the World Today News Bulletin. I am Amadou Kante. Many thanks for joining us, and now the news in detail. Now, reports in Africa TV indicate that the Fajikunda Health Center is experiencing shutdown due to the impact of the COVID-19 global pandemic. The health facility, which served about 10 different communities in both West Coast and the Greater Banjul areas, had been fumigated after a patient in the maternity ward tested positive of COVID-19. The Gambia has, since the outbreak of the virus in the country, recorded more than 300 cases with about 8 COVID-19 deaths. Ibrahim Abba was at the health facility during the Good Morning Africa program.
Because of COVID-19, there are challenges now, meaning, the health facility is actually experiencing the worst case scenario, some point in time, knowing that it has isolation center. So people suspected of COVID-19 are always a reason for, alarm on this facility. So what we did, I spoke to the officer in charge of the Fajikunda Health Center, Kumba Jete, earlier on. And this is what she had to say in response to the
Yes, that happens sometimes. That is a challenge even to the staffs working here. Because normally, if you have a suspected case of COVID, even before confirmation, we will like to protect ourselves. That is by calling the team to come and fumigate the particular unit or the entire facility, because all the staffs mingle. So the fumigation, if it takes place like today, it will take us 72 hours before we resume work, because the chemical they are spraying inside is not even good for someone to live in it. So that is, I'm sure those are the challenges they are also facing, because these past days they've been coming here, but because of those fumigations, so we've been off for 72 hours. That's a problem for the community, I can say. So far, we have 3 suspected cases that are sent, and the last one was confirmed positive.
Out of 3 suspected cases, as he rightly mentioned, 1 has been confirmed positive, and this is not a good news for the health facility, because looking at the number of health workers who already under treatment for the COVID virus, I mean, they also are doing their best to make sure that the nurses and the few workers that they have here, since the work was scaled down, the number of staff was scaled down, they have to protect the few that are here. So they will go to the extent of doing whatever it takes to shut down the facility, just to make sure that, the services that the community look up from them will continue to be offered.
Ibrahim Press Bar there reporting earlier from the Fajikunda Health Center. Next, we head to Nigeria, because the Nigerian government is planning to invest more than $30 million in its infrastructural developmental program. This investment plan seeks to revive the economy of the West African nation amidst the impact of the COVID-19 global pandemic. Analysts say the 5-year project could fast-track the economic recovery process by reducing the unemployment rate in the country. Here's more details of that.
With approval to establish a CBN-led infrastructure development company, which would leverage local and international funds for rebuilding of critical infrastructure across the country. The sum of 15 trillion naira is projected over 5 years for the initial run.
Nigeria's central bank governor, Godwin Emefiele, announcing the Apex Bank's development financing plan on the sidelines of the Monetary Policy Committee meeting. The $38 billion fund will be spread over a 5-year period. It's part of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration's policy thrust towards infrastructure development and economic advancement. And it's coming at a time the country has been hit by an economic downturn largely attributed to the decline in oil prices and shocks from the COVID-19 pandemic.
This entity, which will be wholly focused on Nigeria and Nigerians alone, will be co-owned by the CBN, the African Finance Corporation, and the Nigerian Sovereign Wealth Investment Authority, but exclusively managed by an independent infrastructure fund manager that will mobilize local and foreign capital.
Development economist Sam Amadi is confident that it will accelerate economic recovery.
Of course, job creation, infrastructure means a lot of jobs will involve, and those jobs will help to reduce the unemployment rates, which is close to about 33-35% now in terms of predictions that could happen post-COVID. So with this infrastructure work, especially if they are low-tech and focusing on low-skill and a lot of low-skill labor, then we'll see both the poverty rate go down and the unemployment.
Nigeria's huge infrastructure deficit has remained a topical issue as it has undermined the country's economic potential. Among other challenges, the West African nation faces poor transport networks, epileptic power supply, and huge housing deficit. The government says it would require an estimated $93.3 billion annually over the next 30 years to bridge the infrastructure gap. For now, the $38 billion investment may be just a fraction of what's required, but it's seen as a step in the right direction.
And from the report there in Abuja, Nigeria, we come back home because jackpot winners have expressed what they call robbery of the Big Winners betting company program on the Premier League games. The game and betting activities were banned under the COVID-19 emergency restriction, but the gamblers claim that their achievements were drawn through online platforms. More details of that in this report by Julden Jai Suare.
Angry gamblers have dragged a staff of the Big Winners to police over the company's refusal to pay for their betting jackpots in the Premier League. The group, mainly of youth, are claiming some millions of dollars from the betting company located in Talinding as of July 2020.
Big Winners. Yeah. So we played the bet yesterday. It's a jackpot of $12,500. So we played, we win. So when we went to cash our money, they said they will give us each and everybody $3. $3, yes. Which we are not going to accept. Because we have been playing this bet. We have been losing. We never did any complaint. So why we want today to get our money, it's a problem.
The disgruntled youth insisted in taking no move away from the Bundung police station without being paid as promised in the games they played mainly online. They jointly scolded one of the Big Winner staff, who they said was there to protect the Lebanese proprietor of the gambling company.
The Lebanese man told us to go anywhere we please, so it means he is relying on someone at the top. But Gambia has passed that stage now. That will never happen here again. You come from outside and loot poor people's money and take it to your country. People win and you don't want to give them their money.
This case falls in the trap of violation to the COVID-19 emergency restrictions, which put a ban on all betting games for the past few months, according to the Bundung police. But the youth were quick to clarify that they had been betting online.
So that's when they are backing this man.
The police officer asked us out of the police station, saying we don't have any right,
that means they are backing this man. What interest do they have from this man? Secondly, we are Gambians, he is not. We don't want to do anything to him. We arrest him and took him to the police because we want to follow the due process of the law. We don't do any action. We came here for the man to give us our money today.
One of the agents in Talinding branch had few issues to clarify.
All jackpot, all over the world, jackpot. In case of multiple winners, the prize will be set among all winners. You understand? Like 12,500 was the stake, and 4,166 people hit it. So it means they have to share the money, and that will be $3 each.
The government of former President Yahya Jammeh in March 2015 banned all forms of gambling in the Gambia. Operators of casinos, lotteries and other gambling centers were suddenly ordered to cease operation without any prior notice. However, in May 2017, President Adama Barrow has issued an executive order to end the ban on Gambian gambling services for lotteries, casino and sports betting activities. For iAfrica News, I am Julden Soare.
Some Gambian youths they are venting their anger after, of course, feeling that they are hard done by a betting company. And with that report there by Julden Soare, we'll now take a break and come back shortly with the remaining of the story. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Welcome back, and you are watching the World Today News Bulletin on iAfrica TV. And now to the rest of the stories. Now, the WHO, during its weekly update on the novel coronavirus on Thursday, observed that the number of infected persons has taken a multiple pace. The update marked the 6th month since the declaration of the COVID-19 as a public health emergency of international concern. Details of that in this report.
Almost 16 million cases have now been recorded to WHO, with more than 640,000 deaths worldwide. In the past 6 weeks alone, the total number of cases has roughly doubled. Many states have relaxed emergency restrictions intended to cope the further spread of the virus within and across the globe. These, according to the executive director of the WHO's Health Emergencies Program, Michelle Ryan, will require pressure on the virus to suppress its strength.
I think what is clear is that countries that have implemented control measures have suppressed the virus. And when those measures to suppress the virus are lifted, the virus returns. And I think what is clear that pressure on the virus successfully pushes the numbers down, release pressure on the virus, and the numbers can creep back up. So whether we're dealing with second peaks within the first wave or second waves, in some senses is not the right question to ask. The question to ask is, how much pressure do you have on the virus?
For her part, WHO's COVID-19 technical lead, Maria, said the new normal requires how people maneuver with the virus to resume normal activities.
What we're going to have to figure out, and I think what we're all going to have to figure out together, is what our new normal looks like. Our new normal includes physical distancing from others. Our new normal includes wearing masks where appropriate. Our new normal includes us knowing where this virus is each and every day, where we live, where we work, where we want to travel. And that's going to be part of how we move forward with this, finding the balance between keeping the virus transmission low and resuming normal activities.
The lifting of travel measures posed a great threat in mitigating the spread of the virus. These, however, Ryan said, will serve as a challenge to the governing body in the fight against the pandemic.
It is tough on people right now because as countries, like everybody else in the world, move through this period of continued uncertainty, it is difficult to get those travel measures absolutely right. You can open up and then have to shut down, and then open up and have to shut down. And some people say, well, better to stay shut because that's more consistent, but it's also not making any progress. So how do you make progress with opening up national and international economies? How you do that in a way that's least risky, but how do you do that in a way that you can pull back if you need to, slow down or reverse? And that's the conundrum we're facing, both in terms of national travel and international travel at the moment.
According to the latest WHO COVID-19 situation report, more than 15 million confirmed cases have been reported, resulting in confirmed 6,416 deaths. In Africa, more than 800,000 cases of the virus have been recorded, with a death toll of over 17, according to the Africa Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Although experts are working towards the attendance of a vaccine to the deadly virus, Africa joins the fight in the discovery. Africa CDC on July 22nd, in collaboration with the WHO, launched an advisory committee on traditional medicine for COVID-19 cure. Among the consortium for the COVID-19 vaccine trials, one vaccine has been approved by the China Central Military Commission for clinical trial. For iAfrica TV, Sohna Tunkara.
The coronavirus global pandemic continued to spread around the world despite the efforts to contain the virus. Now, China has on Monday identified the 16th batch of peacekeepers to fulfill a 5-month mission in Sudan. The peacekeepers, who will be in 2 batches, are expected to arrive by the end of July and early August to take up from the 115th Chinese detachment. And of course, for more details of that, by our Makalo.
The detachment mainly comprises soldiers selected from an engineering brigade of the 82nd Group Army of the Central Theater Command of the Chinese People's Liberation Army. It consists of 1 commander, 2 engineering squadrons, 1 supporting squadron, 1 security guard squadron, and 1 first-class hospital. This is the first time for the brigade to perform peacekeeping missions abroad. The unit has particularly formulated a disease prevention and control plan based on the COVID-19 situation in the Mason area. The troops have taken with them more anti-pandemic supplies, and they had their entire medical staff pass strict examinations of professional skills and basic physical fitness. In the past 4 months, the peacekeepers underwent targeted training according to mission requirements, which include more than 100 practical courses of 3 major tasks of road and field construction, engineering, as well as life support. Xiang Weng, commander of the 16th Peacekeeping Engineer Detachment to Sudan, said they had series of training on different aspects of defense and engineering.
We have mainly carried out realistic simulated training on defense of the camp gate, emergency handling, security guarding and protection, as well as emergency repair and construction of roads. Besides, we have organized logistic and armament support training, including various subjects like water supply, power supply, as well as various engineering and logistic equipment support. We have attached more importance to equipment repair. The equipment is relatively aging since it has been in the service mission area for nearly 11 years.
The war in Darfur is a major armed conflict in the Darfur region of Sudan that began in February 2003. It began with the Sudan Liberation Movement and the Justice and Equality Movement rebel groups began fighting the government of Sudan, which they accused of oppressing Darfur's non-Arab population. The government responded to attacks by carrying out a campaign of ethnic cleansing against Darfur's non-Arabs. This resulted in the killing of hundreds of thousands of people. But according to Sudan's Security General's recent report, the security situation in Darfur is now relatively stable. However, intermittent clashes in the Jebel Mara area between government forces and the Sudan Liberation Army and the intercommunal conflict persist. For iAfrica TV, Sohna Tunkara.
Yes, as you heard there, instead of our Makalo, the report was filed in by Sona Tunkara. Now, Mexican President jet, which was sent on action to the United States, has returned back to base. President Andres Manuel Lopez is still committed in the sale of the luxurious Airbus. Here's more details of that in this report.
The luxurious presidential jet that Mexican President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador had wanted to sell returned to Mexico on Wednesday, more than a year after being sent to the United States for auction. Images published by the Mexican presidency on Monday showed details inside and outside the aircraft, which is in a hangar in Mexico City. The Mexican government has described the luxurious Boeing 787 Dreamliner as a symbol of the opulence and corruption of previous governments. Acquired by the former President Enrique Pena Nieto in 2012, the aircraft is equipped with a presidential suite and marble-lined bedrooms, as can be seen in the footage published by local authorities. Mexico, severely affected by the coronavirus pandemic, has nearly half of its population living in poverty.
And that report there by Absagai finally brings this news bulletin to an end. But for more details on this and other stories, as always, you can log on our website on iAfrica.tv. But once again, many thanks for the pleasure of your company. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and bye for now.
tey nag dama kontaan bu baax sax si ñëw bi nga ñëw seet si suma tabax gi kontaan naa ci trop trop.
maa gën a kontaan bi ma ñëwee fekk sa tabax bi toll fii waaye nag man kontaanuma ci sama kër gi man.
lu xew.
ndax umpalewul woon ne ñoo bokkoon nekk Europe.
dëgg la
jamono yu ñu nekkee foofu yëpp man ak yow maa ngi am benn waay maa ngi ko yónnee xaalis bu